Welcome to The Archive Speaks, a podcast by the Refugee Archive. In this series, we document the journeys of displaced women who lead households, rebuild communities, and carry stories that often go unheard. These oral histories reflect the personal memories and truths of those who tell them, shaped by time, trauma, and resilience. The Refugee Archive holds space for these voices without political alignment or editorial interference. The last time we heard from Sakena, the sky above her village burned red. She walked away from everything she knew, her home, her land, her husband, holding her children, her prayers, and a small Quran. When she reached Bangladesh, the sky changed, but the weight she carried did not. Here in Cox's Bazar, Sakena joins countless other women rebuilding life, alone. Women who never ask to lead households, but do, every day, with quiet persistence. Their stories remind us that survival isn't only about crossing borders. It's about carrying families forward when the world stops seeing you.
Now we are here. It became like this. They said, "We will write your name on paper." They took a photo and your fingerprints. My heart grew heavy, my mind swelled. Now inside the camp, at the doorway, the sound of wind. Allah, give mercy. I said, fear came, but peace came too. At night, the sound of rain on the roof, sleep began to come. They said, stay in the line, we'll give rations. And I held the bag. The children said, Mama, the rice smells good. And I said, it is Allah's provision. Now, life inside the camp has begun. I recite prayer, my heart softens. Allah, do not let hunger come, make hope grow, I said. Now, I returned again. By the roadside as more wind touched. I said, Allah, this life is not the life of a home. I thought, before it was a house at home, now it is a house in the camp. Near the fence there are some trees, a bit of water sound, the children play, but there is no sound of peace. I said in my heart, Allah, give mercy, give comfort. Now the smell of cooked rice rises, the sound of people talking. In between the two, my heart became heavy. Fear came. I thought, the sound of home and the sound of camp are different. Now, I am inside the camp, but my heart is still at home. I thought, Allah, return us home again. In the morning I woke up, the sound of water was coming. The children said, Mama, is there rice yet? And I said, Allah will give, be patient. Now the mornings inside the camp are not like the mornings of the old home. In the old days I fetched water with my neighbors. Now I must stand in a line. Before, there was the sound of plowing the fields. Now inside the camp the birds are few. I thought, Allah, bring back the days from before. I recited a prayer, my heart softened, yet it also grew heavy, both at once. When I don't call Allah's name, my heart burns. When I call His name, my heart cools. Now I sit inside a small shelter. Little air, the children cannot sleep. I said, Allah, send the wind, send the coolness. Now it is time to cook the rice. I gathered small pieces of firewood, spread an old oil bottle underneath, and lit the fire. In the old days, I used to cook on a clay stove at home. Now I cook by placing the pot on tin. When the fire weakened, the children blew on it with fans. I said, Allah, keep the fire steady. Don't let the rice burn or stay raw. As the water boiled, the scent began to rise, and I saw the steam from the rice. The children said, Mama, the rice smells so good. And I smiled. Now I do not cook like before. I improvise, not as it was. Before, I used to boil fish, wash it clean, add salt. Now there is little oil, little salt. I think, Allah, give us provision. I cook rice for 3 people, but I pray for everyone. I said in my heart, before, I ate fish or lentils. Now I am content with what Allah provides. After cooking, I divided the rice, poured water. The children cooled it with their fingers. I said, eat in the name of Allah. The children said, Mama, it's hot. I blew softly on the rice. As we ate, memories came. The sounds of home, the smell of fish, the sound of laughter. Now there is smoke from the fire, the smell of plastic, but still I feel this too is home.
Evening comes. The sound of the call to prayer floats from far away. I make ablution from the water bucket using one mug. Hands, face, forearms, head, feet, one by one. I spread the small floor mats, lift my scarf to the right, and recite a prayer. The children say, Mama, it's dark. And I say, Allah is with us. Wait a little. The cooking pot is still warm. I rinse it slowly, scrub with wood ash, then wash it clean with water. I turn the pot upside down on the tin stove to dry. I put the leftover rice into a small bottle, tie it inside plastic. I tuck the ration paper into the fold of my scarf, then hang it under the tin beam. I wash the children's hands and faces using a small mug of water. I lower the mosquito net from the rafter and tie it with rope across 2 bamboo poles. I say, sleep in Allah's name. And my mother-in-law quietly recites prayers. Rain taps on the tarpaulin, a soft flicker sound in the wind. My heart grows heavy, but peace comes. I say, Rabbi Yasir, wala tu'asir. Far away a dog calls. A neighbor's mat rustles. I cover the child's head with my scarf. Don't be afraid, I'm here. At the end of the night, one of the children began to cry softly. I got up, wiped my face with my scarf, and washed my hands with water. I said, Allah, give sleep, remove fear. The water in the mug was low. I went outside with a small bucket to fetch more. I caught rainwater from below as it dripped along the edge of the tin roof. I said, Allah, even this rainwater is your mercy. Now I looked inside the ration bag, checking the empty space, measured rice for the next day's meal. In a small bottle, only a little oil was left. I said, Allah, do not lessen even this small provision. My mother-in-law quietly said, Subhanallah, God's day is coming. I smiled and said, Allah's day is not a day of fear. Now light appears in the sky, the sound of birds returns. I took the paper from my scarf, because for the ration line I must be early. I combed the child's hair, patched the head with water, and said, Wake in Allah's name, the morning light has come. It is not like the days before. Yet within this light there is still prayer. Now it is early morning. I stand in the ration line. My scarf tied tightly, the paper in one hand, a mug in the other, and a small bag beside me. The man in front says, "Today they will give oil, rice and lentils." I thought, Allah's provision has arrived. The line moves slowly forward, the ground wet under my feet, mud between my toes, the sun above hot, sweat inside the scarf. I remembered my child's face. "Mama, the rice smells good." Now I thought, standing in the line for food and standing in the line for prayer are the same. The man in front says, "Say your name," and I said, "Sakena." They wrote it down, handed me a paper and said, "Give your fingerprint." I pressed my finger and thought, this paper holds the mark of my life. Then they gave a small bottle of oil, a small bag of rice, small sounds everywhere. People's voices, the knock of tin, a small breeze in the sky, a heavy wind inside the hut. I said, "In Allah's name I accept," and lifted the bag to my shoulder. I thought, it feels like the weight of life itself. My mother-in-law said, "Keep your name safe." I said, "This is Allah's paper. I'll keep it in my hand." Now I walk back through the camp road, the smell of rations, the smell of earth, the smell of rain together. I thought, it's not like the smell of my home soil, but inside the smell of provision, there is still peace. Now I walk home, the bag on my shoulder, mud clinging to my feet, the scent of sweat inside my scarf. From far away, I hear the children's voices. "Mama's coming, Mama's coming." I smiled and said, Allah's provision has come. My mother-in-law recited a prayer. "Allah, give blessing." I set the bag down on a small mat, poured the rationed rice into small metal bowls. I opened the tiny bottle of oil and placed it beside the fire. I gathered sticks, small pieces of bamboo, tore open the empty ration bag. I lit the fire, smoke rising, the crackle of oil, the smell of earth. I said, "In Allah's name, the meal begins." I filled the water mug and began to cook the rice. The children sat beside the fire. One played with the breeze, one laughed. I said, "Sing, sing, sing in Allah's name." They sang in a small tune, "Allah, give us food, give our mother a smile." I laughed, my eyes filled with tears. In the smoke of the fire, my heart grew heavy, yet hope became large. I thought, I will eat like before, I will laugh like before. Inside me was the sound of hope. Allah, put rice in my children's mashed. Bring back the sound of laughter.
Now
the rice is fully cooked. The smoke fades. I stir it gently with my hand. I said, the smell of home has come back. Now in my children's mouths are grains of rice, in my hands a prayer, and in my heart the memory of home. Night falls. The camp grows quiet. The children are asleep. I open the small door and sit outside. Stars glimmer in the sky. The wind moves slowly. In my hand is a small bucket of cool water. I wash my face and wipe my eyes. I think, in the old days, the night held peace. Now, inside the peace, sorrow lives. When I say Allah's name, my heart softens. In my mind come His face, His smile, His voice holik, and the thought that one day we will return. I recite small prayers, verses from the Russian's book, a few from Surah Yasin. On the edge of the sky there is faint light. Behind the stars, a soft sorrow's glow.
Inside me, there is no fear now, only a little emptiness. I say, Allah, give strength, the strength to hold hope inside sorrow. Now faint sounds appear, the hum of a water bottle, the buzz of mosquitoes, the whisper of wind. I cover my face with my scarf and think, in Allah's presence this night is good. It is not like the nights before, yet within my heart there is the scent of peace. Morning light slowly enters the shelter. I reach out, lift the edge of my scarf and walk toward the water bucket. The cool water sounds, tip, 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 as I wash my hands and face. In the sky, two birds call. One perches on a tree beside the road. I think, in the old days, the cry of those birds meant the start of a holiday. Now that same cry means the return of hope. I warm the ration rice again, turn in the small bottle of oil to see how much remains. I light a small fire. The sticks crackle, smoke mixes with the smell of earth. The children wake, rubbing their eyes, resting their hands on my shoulder. I say, in Allah's name, rise like we used to. Inside me, a voice says, there is no fear, but there is weight. I think, before I had the strength of body, now I have the strength of heart. My mother-in-law recites a prayer softly, murmuring, Allah, give strength. I fan the fire gently with a piece of cardboard. The cooking begins. The water boils, the smell rises, sunlight drips tap-tap onto the tin roof. I say, Allah's light is here. Let the light in my heart grow too. Now I look toward the sky and think, the roof of our old home isn't so far. Now the smell of rice rises and the children's laughter comes with it. One small child says, Mama, the rice is good, hot. I smile, fanning the bowl. The steam climbs with the soft morning light. Before my eyes, I see their father's face, his smile, his voice saying, eat in Allah's name. I think the sounds of those days now live inside my heart. I hear the fires crackle, tick-tick, chick-chick, and in its glow I see their faces lit. My mother-in-law sits quietly reciting a short surah, her eyes damp. I lift the small bottle's edge and pour a little water, wetting their hands, wiping their faces with the edge of my scarf. I say, in Allah's name, may you sleep and may peace come. Now the night is gentle. The scent of warm rice mixes with the cool air. I think, the sky of those old days isn't far, only their father's voice is faint. Allah, keep my children's laughter alive. Keep the fear away from our hearts. In the sky, a few stars shimmer. On the tin roof are marks of rain. Inside me, between warmth and cold, there is a small space of peace.
Now I think, what is strength? In the old days, I thought strength meant the power of the body, carrying water, lifting firewood, working in the fields. Now I think, strength means the power of the heart, seeing my children's smiles, praying inside sorrow, covering my tears with a smile. I think, Allah, give me strength to live within pain. My hands are empty, but my prayers are full. Between my fingers lingers the scent of rice. Within my scarf, the echo of my children's laughter. And in my heart, the memory of my old home. Now I think, before I had a house, now I have built one inside my heart. My mother-in-law said, to stay alive, that is strength. I smiled and said, in Allah's name, every breath of life is strength. In the sky, a small ray of sun appears. The wind moves softly through the camp,
Raindrops tap on the tin roof, and within me a gentle light awakens. I said, Allah, this is strength. The strength of hope. The strength of prayer. Now I think, what will my children's future become? In the old days, their father used to say, learn to read and write, become a person of worth. Now I place my hand on their heads and say, read in the name of Allah, with your father's prayer beside you.
I
see their small bamboo table, one paper, broken pen, their hands above it, a little sunlight in their eyes. My eyes fill, but my heart feels light. Before, the smell of the schoolhouse, now, the smoke of the camp. Different, yet both carry the hope of learning. I say, Allah, keep a pen in their hands, put light in their hearts. I think, Allah, make the road straight for them. Now I wonder, does the world know what a mother feels for her children? Before there was a father, 2 hands. Now one hand holds rice, the other holds prayer, smiles in my eyes, hope in my heart. I say, Allah, those who cannot see, they do not know how much strength lives in the heart of a mother like us. Now after the night, the sunlight comes gently. At the edge of the sky, a small star hides again. In my palm, I hold my child's tiny fingers, and I say, in Allah's name, bring back their days like before. The smell of rain returns, the earth grows wet, and in my heart, the scent of home returns. I think, the road of life is long, but my children's laughter is the light along my road. Now I think, what is a home? In the old days, home was made of earth, the smell of soil in the walls, and beneath the open sky, the shadow of my roof. Now, the walls are plastic sheets. The wind passes through the gaps. The rain taps softly on the tin. But inside this small home are my children's laughter, their voices, their prayers. I think, this house may not be like the old one, but it is the home within my life. My mother-in-law said, home is not of soil, but of the heart. The soil will break, but the heart will stay. I sit quietly, raising my hands in prayer, and inside my eyes, a small light appears. I say, Allah, in all the noise of this life, keep peace in my heart. Now I think, if the world could understand the hope inside a mother's heart, the light inside her children, the strength within their laughter. In my hands, the seeds of prayer. In my heart, flowers begin to bloom. I say, Allah, make the world gentle for them, and for us, give a small place of peace. Now the night is come, the wind tender. The sound of prayer rises to the sky, and within my heart, one voice remains, Allah, grant patience. Now, life inside the camp began. The morning wind was gentle, but the air smelled of smoke, the smoke of cooking fires rising above bamboo roofs. A long line of people waited quietly, each holding a small pot, hearing the shoror of dripping water. One woman said, "Is there a ration today?" The sound of bags rustling passed through the line. Another replied, "Yes, but not before noon." I stopped and stood at the end of the line. Beneath my feet, a little water mixed with dust. Its smell blended with the color of the earth. I thought, even in this dust, Allah's mercy is here. My hands were wet, yet my heart felt warm. I said, in Allah's name, this water is blessed. Children came with small plates and said, "Mama will drink." I smiled. This water is from Allah. It will taste good. The sound of drops hitting the tin roofs went tip-tip. Cool air brushed over my skin. I thought,
Before, the river's water was scarce, but in this waiting line, I find memory of those days. My mother-in-law said, "Hold the patience Allah gives." I answered, "Patience I have, but little food." She laughed. "Keep patience inside Allah's house." I smiled quietly, hiding my fear. Allah, bring peace within this line. Fear came to me, yet some peace came too. At night, wind whispered and rain tapped tip-tip on tin roofs. The small children slept. I looked up at the roof and said, "Under this tin, sleep is Allah's gift. It is a blessing. Allah, not hunger I fear, but the heaviness of the heart."
Late morning arrives. The sun climbs. Little patches of light on the tin roof. I measure rice from the sack. 1 mug, not quite a second. There is little lentil, just a small amount. Shtalich, and 2 tiny grains of salt. I lift the oil bottle. Only a trace along the rim. Allah, do not lessen even this. I gather sticks, bits of bamboo, and tear an empty damp ration bag. I light a fire. Tick tick, shik shik, smoke mixing with the smell of earth. I scrub the pot with ash, rinse with water. The sound, shoror, shoror. My hands grow cold. I soak the lentils and strain them between my fingers. Let me keep it clean like the old days. A neighbor woman calls, "Sister, do you have salt?" I smile, open a small packet and give 2 grains. She says, "May Allah make it good." And I answer, "May Allah bless it." The children sit nearby, one waving a fan, another looking into the steam from the pot. The water boils. Bol bol. The lentils turn a soft yellow. I wash the rice. The water won't run clear, so I wash again. Clear, clear. The color lightens a little. I put the rice in the pot, thinking of kichuri with the lentils. A little oil, a little salt, shorbul, just a pinch of turmeric. I stir gently and lower the flame. The sound, shoror, shoror. There is the scent of sweat within the scarf, yet my heart is soft. The neighbor comes again. "Sister, Margub, do you have chili?" I take a small sachet from the bottom of a bottle. "Take a little, the children need it." She says, "May Allah increase your provision." And I say, "In Allah's house, blessings are shared." I tie the ration paper inside my scarf. Now and then I touch it. On this paper is my name, the mark of my life. The children say, "Mama, it smells good." Kichuri steam rising, warm air touching our faces. I portion it out in small servings and pour water on top. "Hot, easy," I say, and blow gently across each bowl. My mother-in-law recites a prayer, Bismillah. Her eyes wet, her smile tender. I say, "Allah, keep peace inside this cooking." And though my heart grows heavy, hope grows larger. It isn't like the old days, but the smell of home returns to my heart. The little spoons click, tick-tick, a hollow ton-ton on the tin above, a slow shoror of wind, and in the middle of these sounds my prayer rises. Afternoon heat settles in. The air above the tin roof smells faintly of smoke. My neighbor comes, holding a small bowl, saying, "Sister, may I taste?" I answer, "Yes, eat a little, it's still hot. Slowly." She laughs. A small plate passes between us. Little hands begin to eat. The children run toward me, shouting, "Mama, give, give," pulling at my arm. I say, "Slowly, it's hot." Eat in Allah's name. A neighbor's child says, "My mother says this smell of hot kichuri has no equal."
My heart softens. The days aren't like before, but joy returns inside me. I sit and look into the bowl, pour a little water on top and whisper, Allah, place peace in this food.
In Cox's Bazar, Sakena arrived carrying more than just her children and the few things she could save. By then, nearly 1 million Rohingya had crossed the border into Bangladesh. Most settled in Kutupalong and Balukhali, now the largest refugee camp in the world. The shelters rose fast, bamboo frames, plastic tarps, narrow paths that turned to mud when it rained. Aid arrived, but never enough. Disease spread faster than food did. The camp was crowded, loud, always shifting. A place meant to shelter people, not hold their memories. But somehow, in the chaos of the camp, she found a way to make space for living again. She learned how to queue for water, how to stretch a handful of rice, and how to sleep through noise.
The wind sighs, rain drips tick-tick on tin. Children's laughter travels across the rows of shelters. One mother nearby says, "The ration line was short today." Another replies, "They don't give us before, but still, small packets come." I think, Allah, bless these small portions. My mother-in-law looks on and says, "See, daughter, the hearts are not as heavy. Peace comes after the hard days." I answer, "Inside patience, there is peace." The smell of sweat inside my scarf, sunlight on tin, the sky soft blue. My young daughter points and says, "Mama, the sky is beautiful." I say, "Allah's mercy is soft, like the color of the sky." They laugh, tug at each other with small hands, finishing the last bits of khichuri. I think, in this afternoon, sorrow has lightened, but the shadow of fear remains. Allah, take away the shadow of fear. Evening came, the sky dimmed, the light faded. I carried the bucket outside, the tip-tip sound of water. Cold water loosened my body. My hands were cold. I washed my face, and with tears at the corners of my eyes, I recited a prayer. Allah, make the end of this day gentle. The children said, "Mama, we feel sleepy." I said, "Sleep in Allah's name." My mother-in-law sat, prayer beads in her hand. The beads clicked tip, tip, tip. Smoke drifted in the wind. A little rain fell on the tin roof. In my hands was the ration paper. I looked at it. On this paper is my name, the mark of my life. I said, "In Allah's house there is patience, there is peace." Far away, the sound of birds, the breathing of children. I covered my face with my scarf. Allah, give peace inside this evening. I thought, it's not like the evenings of before, but within this small light lives the scent of my old heart. Raindrops tapped on the bamboo roof, the neighbors' prayers mixed in. I whispered, Allah, among all these sounds, give peace to my heart. Allah, make this night gentle. My eyes grew wet, but the fear was small. The sound of prayers rose into the sky, and in my heart, flowers of peace began to bloom. The Fajr call to prayer echoed through the camp. In the gentle dawnlight,
The sound of supplication rose. I wiped my eyes with my scarf and whispered, Allah, you gave a new day. Give me strength. My daughter opened her eyes and said, Mama, the light has come. I said, Yes, the light has come. Allah's gift, the beginning of day. There were faint sounds, birds stirring on the tin roofs, the smell of smoke fading from the air, a cool wind brushing over my head. Prayer beads loosened in my hand, and I said, Allah, this morning is soft, full of blessing. The laughter of children rose in small bursts, the tip-tip of water in buckets. A neighbor's voice said, Allah, give peace inside this day. I answered, Allah has made the day gentle. The fear of yesterday remains, but this morning feels tender. My eyes were wet, but a smile came. I sat on the low embankment, looked into the bucket of water. The color of the sky was reflected there, a soft shimmer of light. I said, this light is from Allah. With this light, my day begins. My mother-in-law's soft voice said, begin with prayer, my daughter. I smiled. Allah, make this morning gentle. The children sat nearby, little plates in hand. My daughter said, Mama, the food smells good. I said, it's Allah's scent, like goodness itself. They laughed and ate. The sound of happiness spread. The air carried their small laughter. The raindrops on tin roofs dried in the morning sun. I whispered, in this new day, it feels like the mornings before. Allah, begin this day with peace. My heart was not heavy now, but light. The morning air was soft. The sky, bright blue. I looked upward and said, Allah, with this light, give my life a new beginning. Allah, remove the shadow of fear from my heart. After morning, my day begins. With my children. I say, children, wash your hands, wash your feet. The tip-tip of water sounds, the coolness on my hands. My daughter says, Mama, the water is cold. I say, it's Allah's water, blessed water. I light a small fire with dry bamboo pieces. The fire crackles, tick, tick. Smoke rises. I say, today we cook. Lentils, a little oil, a little turmeric. My daughter stirs with her hand saying, Mama, it sounds nice. I smile. Cook in Allah's name. My little son sits nearby pulling small sticks for fuel. I say, keep the fire small or there'll be too much smoke. A neighbor woman comes and says, Sister, today you are teaching. I say, Allah's teaching is to keep things clean. Keep the heart kind. Like in the village before, now I'll teach the prayer for a clean heart. I say, faith, memory and peace. Subhanallah walhamdulillah. The prayer continues. The children laugh and say, Mama, say it again. I say, in Allah's name, say it again. They repeat it again and again. Their small laughter fills the house. The smell of smoke, the sound of cooking, and the rhythm of prayer blend together. My heart softens. Allah, Place peace inside these children's hearts. My mother-in-law sits with her prayer beads and says, "Daughter, by teaching you keep life alive." I reply, "I live each day with Allah's teaching." I look around, the murmur of smoke in the air, the sound of birds over the tin roofs, and I say, "Allah, inside this camp, my home has begun." In the middle of the afternoon, my heart grows quiet. I sit, holding a small bucket of water, tears in my eyes. I think, the sounds of my old home are gone now. But the laughter of these little ones, that is my strength. I say, in Allah's name, I will keep living through this teaching. The children sit near. One asks, "Mama, is the sky like our old village?" I say, "Yes, but their sky is separate. Allah's sky is above everyone." I look upward and whisper, "The sky Allah made is the same above this camp." My heart softens. My eyes grow wet. My daughter asks, "Mama, will we go back to our village?" I say, "Allah knows. That day will come. Our village still lives inside the hut." I hold their hands and tell them, "We lost our house, but keep the lessons of our people." My mother-in-law says, "Old lessons are the day's wealth." I say, "My children must guard this wealth." A neighbor woman comes and says, "Sister, you teach well." I say, "Before Allah, without learning, the hut is empty." In our old village, my mother said, "A land woman is the light of the house." Now, even in this bamboo house, keep that light. The children laugh, murmuring prayers, "Allah, make us good." Hearing them, I whisper, "Allah, keep peace inside these children." I think, the tears of old days have lessened, but the scent of the old heart remains. I say, "Allah, in this teaching lies the hope of my life." Peace fills my heart. The sky is blue, the wind is soft. Allah, give me the day when I will see the blue sky above my old home again. In the calm of night, I thought, the days of before are gone, but the strength of my heart has grown. I said, "Allah, give strength, give patience." My daughter held my small hand and asked, "Mama, aren't you afraid?" I said, "When Allah is near, fear becomes small. It isn't like the old days, but peace has become soft." My mother-in-law said, "Daughter, within your living there is strength." I answered, "My strength is inside my children's eyes." I looked. Small eyes, gentle faces. Inside those eyes, a fullness of hope. I thought, the lessons of old days might fade, but in these eyes, the light of those days still lives. I said, in Allah's name, keep this peace. Rain tapped on the tin roof. Wind murmured through the shelter. The sound of prayers blended across the camp. My heart softened. Allah, lessen the fear of the old days. I said, when a person stays close to Allah, they can survive. Allah, let my life continue with this patience. My son sat beside me and asked, "Mama, is Allah good?" I smiled and said, "Allah is good for everyone." He asked, "Will days like before return?" I said, "Yes, Allah will bring days of peace." They laughed and prayed, "Allah, remove Mama's fear." My eyes filled. Allah, with their prayer, my heart softens. I said, "My strength
lives inside their voices. The days of before are lost, but the days of peace are here. I thought, Allah, make the colors of hope grow inside this life. Inside the night, there is peace. In my hands is a small copy of the Quran. My finger moves gently across the page. I whisper. In the words of Allah, my heart finds peace. I can no longer read as I used to, but the sounds of remembrance live in my mouth. Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar. The words come slowly, mixing with the sound of the wind. My eyes fill, but there is no fear. When I recite in Allah's name, my heart softens. My daughter sits beside me, eyes wandering, and says, Mama, the sound smells good. I smile and reply, Allah's words are like flowers, soft, full of blessing. They listen quietly, making tiny sounds with their hands, like the beats of a tasbih moving. My mother-in-law says, when you sleep with Allah's words, fear does not come. I say, the words of Allah are the shelter before sleep. Raindrops fall on the tin roof. The birds' calls grow faint in the distance. The wind's murmur fades slowly. Inside my heart, the sound of peace grows stronger. I whisper, Allah, tonight the recitation is complete. My daughter says, Mama, teach me the prayer. I say, Bismillah, Alhamdulillah. They repeat softly, smiling, their eyes heavy with sleep. My heart softens. Allah, within their prayers lives my peace. I say, sleep in Allah's name. Let fear disappear.
Years have passed since Sakena first arrived in Cox's Bazar, but the camp is still the same sea of tarps and tin. It was meant to be temporary, weeks, maybe months, but it has become a city of waiting. Nearly half of those living here are children, most born after the displacement. For mothers like Sakena, that means raising a generation that has never seen the land their parents lost. Education is limited, movement is restricted, and work is mostly informal, small trade, sewing, or teaching in makeshift schools. Yet, in her small shelter, Sakena continues the rituals that give shape to her days. She keeps her space clean, teaches her children how to read the Quran, and tells them stories of rivers and green fields in Rakhine. These memories are her rebellion, tiny acts of keeping her world intact in a place that asks her to forget.
My hand rests on their heads. The sound of prayer, the murmur of wind, the tip-tip of rain blend together. My eyes close, and in my thoughts I see the sky. Allah's sky, the sky of peace. Morning light arrives and the sound of wind grows gentle. Inside my small shelter, I can hear the children's breathing, soft, even. I rise slowly, my footsteps quiet so they can stay within their sleep. The air is cool like water, and outside,
The sound of water splashing is tender. In my hand is a small bottle of oil, and in my mind a prayer. Allah, give strength for the coming day. My little daughter asks, Mama, what day is it today? I answer, every day is our last day. They laugh, and their laughter mixes with the morning breeze. In my hands, the oil feels warm. I rub it gently on my child's hair. The scent, like coconut, fills the small space around us. I dip my hand into the water. It feels cool. It makes my heart calm. My little son wakes and says, Mama, will you cook rice? I reply, our last day begins. The smell of rice fills the air. I light the fire in the stove. The fire speaks. Chat, chat. Water boils inside the pot, and I pour in the rice. A bit of coconut oil rests on top. The smell of rice rises and drifts into the wind. My heart softens. My daughter says, Mama, the smell of rice mixes with the sound of the wind. It's soft. I reply, it is Allah's blessing. I splash water near the fire and whisper a prayer. Allah, let no fear come today. Within me there is peace. In the air, the scent of coconut, the sound of the fire, and the children's laughter blend together, weaving the peace that lives inside this one small home. Outside, the air carries the smell of dust. The ground beneath my feet is soft, but covered in powdery dirt. I hold my child's hand. My fingers still carry the scent of oil. I say, let's go in Allah's name. The edge of my scarf flutters above my head. The wind turns, carrying dust that stings my eyes. Far away, I hear a voice through a microphone. Line laga, make a line, make a line. I smile with the others and say, my line, their line. Every line belongs to Allah. A woman beside me asks, will we get ration today, sister? I answer, if Allah wills. Inside me, my heart softens, because every mouth around me is saying the same prayer. If Allah wills. The air smells of cooked rice and frying oil. Before my eyes, the end of the line cannot be seen. People, 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 one after another. Within the morning light, the murmur of prayers rises like a soft chant. A young girl holds a small card in her hand. Someone says, show your name. The line ahead of me moves slowly. Someone calls, wait, wait. I whisper, Allah's plan is like this line, long, but it has an end. The wind catches the edge of my scarf again. It hums softly. My little son asks, Mama, does the rice smell already? I answer, yes. Allah's blessing is near. It will come soon. In my hand, the paper feels cool, ink running where my name is written. I show it to them. They say, go. In my heart comes a peace like hope. In Allah's name, I have reached the end of the line. In my hands, the bag is cold. Inside, I hear the faint clink of an oil bottle. I say, this bag is Allah's blessing. A quiet sound escapes my lips. Subhanallah. Something heavy inside me loosens, replaced by gentle peace. My son's eyes shine with light. He asks, Mama, can you smell the rice? I answer, in my hands are blessings, oil, lentils, and rice. A woman beside me says, Today everyone's line is finished, sister. I reply, but Allah's mercy never ends. My heart grows heavy. Tears gather in my eyes, but they come with a small smile. I whisper, by Allah's grace, tonight my children will eat.
The
edge of my scarf covers my head. The wind circles, carrying the scent of rice through the air. I turn slowly toward my shelter. The bag makes a chuck-chuck sound as I walk. A cool paper remains in my hand. Someone behind me calls, Next! I whisper, in Allah's name, do not fear. My small son touches a grain of rice that fell from the bag. I feel quiet peace. I say, Allah's blessing is like this grain of rice. Small, yet it is life. Tears come to my eyes like soft rain, but a smile remains, and within me, a prayer. Allah, at the end of this line, my hope is found. The ground beneath my feet is hot. Dust lifts slowly into the air. I walk home step by step. From a distance I hear the children's laughter. Soft, gentle. I say, I have brought Allah's blessings home. A woman nearby asks, Mama, can I have the oil bottle? I answer, let me light the fire first, then I'll give it. Inside my shelter, the cooking spot is small. The tin roof throws moving shadows as the firelight flickers. I look toward the wind. Far away, thin lines of smoke rise from other tins. In my mind, a small sound of fear stirs, but the sound of Allah's prayer rises with it. I say, Allah, let the sound of the fire be gentle. Fire for life, not for fear. Rice grains fall from my hands into water. The water answers, Chi, chi, chi. My child says, Mama, it smells smoky. I laugh softly and reply, that's the sound of Allah's blessing. The steam of rice fills my hands. The warm breath of the pot rises and touches the roof. I whisper, Allah. Inside this steam lives my prayer. My daughter sits by the pot, her eyes bright. She says, Mama, the sound of boiling rice is soft. I answer, like Allah's peace. The crackle of fire grows. The rhythm of steam joins it. On the tin roof, rain begins to fall. Tip, tip. And inside, the steam of rice touches everything. My little son laughs. Mama, is the rice done? I answer, Allah's blessing is cooking now. I dip my hand into water and sprinkle it toward the fire. Fash. A cool calm spreads through my heart. I look toward the sky and whisper, Allah, within this steam of rice, there is gratitude. My daughter holds a small bowl in her hands and says, Mama, I'll cook with you. I tell her, say Allah's name. Say a prayer. then cook. She says, Bismillah, and stirs the rice slowly, gently in the pot. My heart softens. Allah, within these small hands lives the future. Inside my shelter, the steam of rice fills the air. Warm, gentle. The children call out, Mama, give us rice. I say, this rice is Allah's blessing. In my hands is a small bowl. I scoop the rice and pour a little lentil soup over the top. The crackle of the fire fades, but the children's laughter grows louder. My daughter says, Mama, the smell of hot rice is so good. I answer, by Allah's grace, warmth brings peace. My little son picks up a grain of rice between his fingers and puts it to his mouth. The soft sound of eating. Chap, chap. They laugh. Drops of rice water fall to the floor, making small chap chap sounds on the earth below. I laugh too and say, Allah, inside this laughter lives peace.
A prayer rises in my heart. Allah, take away fear. Let peace stay like the scent of rice. My eyes are wet, but I feel no fear. I look toward the sky and whisper, thanks be to Allah. My daughter says, Mama, the rice tastes good. I answer, we eat within Allah's blessing. The sound of the fire fades. From far away the adhan begins. Allahu Akbar, mixing softly with the wind. My youngest child asks, Mama, are they calling the prayer? I say, yes, it is Allah's call. I dip my hands into the water. The sound of wudu, chi, chi. I whisper, Allah, grant peace tonight. I pull my scarf over my head, recite the prayer and look toward the children. They are smiling, their eyes gentle. My heart softens. Allah, within these children's laughter, life itself lives. The scarf rests on my head. The earth beneath my feet is cool. I look toward the sky. The light dims. The sound of wind grows softer. A prayer fills my mouth. Allah, let no fear come tonight. Give peace. I whisper, the sound of Allah is like the sound of peace. In my hand I touch the beads of the tasbih. Tick, tick, tick. My eyes grow wet as a single star brightens above the sky. Around me the voices in the neighboring shelters fade. The children's laughter drifts away, but their soft breathing remains, gentle like the sky's own wind. I say, sleep within Allah's name. My heart softens and inside me the sound of prayer continues. Allah, make the night as gentle as the day. In my hand lies a small copy of the Quran. My finger moves over the page. No sound. But within me the words are alive. I whisper, Allah, this small sound is like life itself. The air carries the scent of steam and the faint tip-tip of rain on the tin roof. My daughter's soft voice comes. Mama, will you sleep? I answer yes, with Allah's name. From a nearby shelter, the prayer begins again. Subhanallah,
Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar. My eyes close. The wind grows full of peace. There is no fear in my heart now, only calm, vast as the sky. Allah, keep this night in peace. Keep this shelter in safety. Morning light has come. The sky becomes gentle. My eyes open. The small Quran is still in my hands. There is no sound, but in my heart there is prayer. I say, Allah, the new day has arrived. A voice inside me says, Allah's mercy is like the morning light. I touch the ground with my hand. It is cool. My heart feels calm. From afar, my child calls, Mama, the light is here. I reply, it is Allah's light. I say, Allah, give strength in this day. A woman beside me asks, Mama, shall we go to the line? I reply, let us go in Allah's name, without fear. I say, Allah, keep peace in this new day. In my hand is the small bottle of oil. I rub it on the children's heads. I say, this light is like Allah's blessing. Before my eyes in the distance, people are already forming lines. Inside my heart there is peace. There is peace inside my shelter. I say, Allah, keep peace like today's day. I place my scarf over my head. My daughter says, Mama, I will come with you. I answer, let's go in Allah's name. Light fills my eyes. I say, Allah, inside this day there is hope. I think, let there not be fear like before. Let there be peace like Allah. I say, Allah, give peace in life as in this day. My heart softens. I say, in Allah's name, protect my children. I say, Allah, take away the fear from today's line. My eyes fill with tears. But I look toward the sky and say, Allah, thank you. I say, Allah, this day is a new beginning.
The day begins like any other day. In my hand is a bottle of water. My child says, Mama, give me water. I say, in Allah's name, drink. In my eyes there's gratitude. I think, there's no fear like before. My heart softens. I sweep the floor inside the shelter, wipe the small oil bottle, and rub oil on the children's heads. In my hand is a cup. My daughter says, Mama, is there tea? I say, by Allah's gift, there is tea. My heart feels light. I say, in Allah's name, there is peace in this day. I say, in Allah's name, this tea is like life, warm but full of peace. I say, Allah's blessing is this peace. My child says, Mama, can I go play? I say, go, after the line ends. I think life goes on like this, by Allah's name, one day after another. My heart grows heavy, but with gratitude I say, Allah, you are here. My heart feels heavy, yet I say, Allah, I give thanks. I say, Allah, you are here. You are not far. Tears rise in my eyes, but peace remains inside my heart. My daughter asks, Mama, are you afraid? I say, no, no fear. Allah is here. My heart softens. I say, Allah, keep hope inside this life. Light enters my eyes. I say, Allah,
Make it like this light. My child asks, Mama, is there rice? I say, by Allah's gift, there is rice. I think, this rice is like life, small yet fragrant. I say, in Allah's name, this rice is peace. My heart grows heavy again. I say, Allah, keep peace inside this life. Tears come to my eyes, but in my hand is my little child's hand. My heart softens. I say, Allah, give hope inside this hand. My heart softens, yet strength remains. I say, Allah, you have given me power. My child asks, Mama, did you eat? I say, by Allah's gift, I ate. Now you eat. I think, inside life there is hunger, but with Allah's gift, it becomes full. My heart feels heavy, yet inside there is peace. I say, Allah, keep hope within this life. My child asks, Mama, are you praying? I say, I am praying in Allah's name. My eyes grow wet. I say, Allah, give me strength. Give me life. Light enters my heart. I say, may the light of Allah's prayer stay within this life. My heart feels heavy, yet I say, Allah, give me strength inside this life. My child says, Mama, are you working? I say, my work is to stand in the line for my children. I think, this line is like life. One day forward, one day back. My heart softens, but the pressure remains. I say, Allah, give strength inside this pressure. My daughter says, Mama, you stay, I will go. I say, no, stay with me inside the line. Tears rise in my eyes, but I calmly say, Allah, like this line, give peace inside this life. My heart feels heavy again, yet I say, Allah, you are here. You have given strength. I think they wrote my name as FHH, but my heart is that of a mother. Beside my name they wrote FHH, but inside my heart lives the thought of a mother. I say, Allah, a mother is strength. A mother is prayer. My child says, Mama, why don't you sit with me? I say, I have work, but you are with me. Tears rise in my eyes, but a smile rests on my lips. My heart softens. I say, Allah, give peace inside this smile. My child says, Mama, are you tired? I say, yes, tired, but Allah has given me strength. My heart grows heavy. I say, Allah, give hope inside this tiredness. Light fills my eyes. I say, Allah, give life like this light. My daughter says, Mama, smile. I say, my smile is like a prayer in Allah's name. My heart grows heavy when I think of my husband. My child asks, Mama, where is father? I say, he's with Allah. My eyes grow wet, but prayers fill my mouth. I say, Allah, send prayers for him. My heart softens. I say, Allah, give him mercy. Adhan, tin roof creaks softly. I think, his smile, his words, his face, all live inside my heart. My heart feels heavy, but I say, Allah, Give peace inside these memories. My daughter says, Mama, why are you crying? I say, my eyes are wet, but my heart is peaceful. My heart softens again. I say, Allah, give life as gentle as these memories. My heart grows heavy, but I say, Allah, give me strength. My child says, Mama, why are you thinking so much? I say, who is like Allah? Those people are not human. They do cruelty. My eyes grow wet, and I say, Allah, give peace. My heart softens. I think, life goes on by Allah's name. I say, Allah, do not give hunger, give hope. My child says, Mama, what is hope? I say, hope is the light of the heart. Tears fill my eyes. I say, Allah, keep this light. My heart softens again. I say, Allah, give life like this light. My heart softens, but I think, I must live for my children. My child says, Mama, are you afraid? I say, no, Allah is here. Light fills my eyes. I say, Allah, make my child's face bright with this light. My heart feels heavy, but I say, Allah, give peace within this weight. My daughter says, Mama, can I go play? I say, yes, but after the line. I think, by Allah's name, life goes on like the line. My heart softens. I say, Allah, give peace inside life like this line. Tears rise in my eyes, but there is a smile on my lips. I say, Allah, this smile is like a prayer. My heart softens again. I say, Allah, give life like this prayer. Life inside my life has become like a day inside the camp. The morning light comes, and I say, Allah, open today's day with ease. My child wakes and says, Mama, shall we go to the line? I say, yes, get ready for the line. I bring the water pot, place it over the stove. Rice in my hands, I wash it. The grains long like fingers. Light fills my eyes. I say, Allah, make life as clean as these grains. I cook rice for the children, adding a small pinch of salt, light as salt itself. My daughter says, Mama, it smells good. I say, it's the fragrance of Allah's blessing. My heart softens, my eyes grow wet. I take my children's hands and walk toward the line. The wind blows along the line. Life moves like the line. I think, this line is a line of strength. My heart softens again. I say, Allah, give peace like this line. Inside my life, there is still hope. I say, Allah, keep this hope. My child laughs, their face shining bright. I say, Allah, give a future as bright as this face. My heart softens. Evening comes, the sun sets. I say, Allah, close this day with ease. My child says, Mama, is that the call to prayer? I say, yes. The sound of the azan has come. My heart softens. I say, Allah, bring light into my heart like the azan's call. My child's eyes silence, and I say, give peace like the blessing of prayer. I hold my child's hand and say, thanks to Allah. My daughter says, Mama, shall I pray? I say, yes, pray the prayer of gratitude. My heart softens and tears come into my eyes. I say,
Allah, these tears are like prayer. I sit with my children, raise my hands, and say, Allah, give us a peaceful day like this one. My heart softens. I say, Allah, keep this night as quiet as this. Light fills my eyes. Night comes. My children's faces are filled with laughter. I say, Allah, keep this laughter. The smell of rice fills my hands. I say, this is the fragrance of Allah's provision. My daughter says, Mama, tonight's rice is cooked perfectly. I say, it's cooked like Allah's blessing. My eyes soften. I think, the fragrance of rice is like a prayer, soft like the life I have now. My child says, Mama, is there any curry for the day? I say, yes, a blessings curry from Allah. My heart softens and I say, Allah, give us days as gentle as this curry. I serve rice light as salt, soft as oil. My child eats and says, Mama, it's so warm. I say, it's warm like Allah's mercy. Light fills my eyes. I say, Allah, bring light into our hearts like this warmth. My heart softens again. I say, give us peace like your prayer. I sit with my children and tell stories. I say, Allah, bring peaceful days like these stories. My heart softens. Tears rise in my eyes. I say, Allah, these tears are like prayers. The night grows late. My children give small laughter. I say, Allah, keep this laughter. My child asks, Mama, will we go to school tomorrow? I say, if Allah wills. My heart softens. Light fills my eyes. I think, my children will learn to read. My heart becomes heavy. I say, Allah, make their future bright. My daughter says, Mama, will I be able to write? I say, pray for the knowledge that Allah gives. My eyes grow wet. My hands soften. I say, Allah, place the light of learning in these hands. My children laugh again. My heart softens. I say, Allah, grant them a future as joyful as this laughter. My youngest asks, Mama, does Allah see us? I say, yes, Allah sees everything. My heart softens. I say, Allah, keep faith as deep as this fear. Sleep comes to my children, and peace comes to my heart. I say, Allah, grant nights as peaceful as this one. My eyes grow wet, my hands soft. My heart becomes peaceful, my eyes grow wet. I think, there is emptiness inside my home. My heart asks, will he return? I say, if Allah wills. In the night, I see his face. Coldness fills my hands. I say, Allah, grant peace like this coolness. My eyes are wet. My heart feels heavy. I think, he came and held my hand. I wake from sleep, tears in my eyes. I say, Allah, grant peace like the dream. My daughter sleeps nearby, and my heart says, there is light in my home. I say, Allah, grant a future as bright as this light. I think He is inside paradise. I say, Allah, grant a paradise as peaceful as this night. My heart softens. I say, Allah, keep this peace inside my heart as a prayer. The night nears its end. My hands rise, my heart softens. I say, Allah, give me strength, give me peace. Tears fill my eyes, prayers fill my mouth. I say, Allah, do not give hunger, give hope. Make the day good for my children. Let there be light inside my home and prayers inside my heart. My daughter sleeps, light fills my eyes. I say, Allah, begin the day like this light. My heart softens. Coolness fills my hands. I say, Allah, give peace like this coolness. My heart grows heavy, but I say, Allah, place prayer inside this weight. My eyes are wet. I say, Allah, make my heart soft like these tears. My heart softens again. Prayers rest within my hands. Before morning, the silent hour comes. I say, Allah, give a new day. My heart softens. I say, Allah, give strength. Remove fear. Light comes into my eyes. I say, Allah, keep the day like this light. I think, I am here for my children. I say, Allah, keep hope inside this life. My heart grows heavy, but I say, Allah, place prayer inside this weight. My hands feel cool. I say, Allah, give peace like this coolness. I say, Allah, today life will move like the line. I say, Allah, give peace like the end of the line. My daughter says, Mama, shall we go today? I say, we will go in Allah's name. My heart softens. I say, Allah, not hunger, give hope. I say, Allah, keep peace quiet like this day. My eyes grow wet, but gratitude is in my mouth. I say, Allah, thank you. Morning light comes. I say, Allah, make this new day good. My heart softens. Light fills my eyes. I think, my children are alive. This is hope. I say, Allah, give life like this hope. My heart softens. My daughter says, Mama, light has come. I say, yes, this light is Allah's hope. My heart grows heavy, but a smile comes to my lips. I say, Allah, give peace like this smile. I take my children's hands and walk toward the line. My heart says, by Allah's name, life goes on. My heart softens. I say, Allah, keep life like this day.
This is where we pause Sakena's story for now. In the next and final part, she reflects on what it means to live between survival and remembrance, between the world she left behind in Myanmar and the one she's still trying to build in Bangladesh. Her story, like so many others, reminds us that displacement does not end at the border. It continues in the everyday act of keeping a family alive. You've been listening to The Archive Speaks, a podcast from the Refugee Archive, a global center dedicated to preserving and amplifying the voices of displaced female head of households. If this story moved you, help us share it. Support our cause by finding us on any social media platform at The Refugee Archive. And join us, because when more of us listen, more of them speak.